I served salted coffee to 2 job applicants to test their character. I don't look at resumes, I test character. After 30 years of building companies, I've learned that credentials are meaningless compared to how someone behaves under pressure. Degrees tell me what someone studied. Behavior tells me who they actually are. Last month, I needed to fill our most important position, head of quality control. This person would be responsible for ensuring every product leaving our factory met our standards. They would have the authority to halt production lines, reject entire shipments, and tell senior executives that their work wasn't good enough. I needed someone who would speak uncomfortable truths to power. So I designed a test. 2 finalists made it through the screening process. Steve, a former military inspector with a direct communication style. Mark, a polished corporate veteran with glowing recommendations praising his diplomacy and team building skills. I invited them both for final interviews on the same day, scheduled 30 minutes apart. Before they arrived, I prepared 2 cups of coffee, expensive beans, fresh cream, and instead of sugar, I stirred in 3 heaping spoonfuls of salt. Steve arrived first. We exchanged pleasantries. I handed him the coffee with a warm smile. Made it myself. Family recipe. Steve took a confident sip. His face contorted immediately. He gagged. He slammed the cup down on my desk so hard that coffee splashed onto my papers. What the hell is this? He stared at me like I had lost my mind. Did you put salt in this? Are you testing me or are you just insane? He was genuinely angry. Not performing. Not calculating his response. Just authentically offended that someone had handed him garbage and expected him to drink it. I smiled and asked him to wait outside. Mark arrived 30 minutes later. Same setup, same poison coffee, same warm smile. Made it myself. Family recipe. Mark took a sip. I watched his face carefully. His left eye twitched almost imperceptibly. His throat worked hard to force the swallow. A bead of sweat appeared on his temple, but he smiled. It's unique, he said carefully. Very interesting flavor profile. Thank you for sharing it with me, sir. He took another sip to prove his commitment. I nodded slowly and called Steve back into the room. Both men stood before me, uncertain what was happening. I turned to Mark first. Thank you for coming in. You're not getting the job. His face fell. But I was polite. I was respectful. I didn't cause a scene. Exactly, I said. You drank something disgusting and told me it was delicious because you thought that's what I wanted to hear. I turned to Steve and handed him the employment contract. You start Monday. Steve looked confused but took the papers. Mark sputtered. This doesn't make any sense. He was rude. He insulted you. I sat back in my chair. Let me explain something to both of you. The position I'm filling is head of quality control. This person's entire job is to identify problems and speak up about them, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it makes people angry, even when the person they're correcting is me. I pointed at Mark. You just demonstrated that when the boss hands you something terrible, you'll swallow it with a smile and pretend it's wonderful. That makes you a liability in quality control. If a defective product reaches my desk and you're too polite to tell me it's garbage, that product ships to customers. Customers get hurt. The company loses millions. Careers end. I pointed at Steve. You took 1 sip of bad coffee and immediately told me it was unacceptable. You didn't care that I was the CEO. You didn't care that it might offend me. You cared that the product was wrong, and you said so. Mark opened his mouth to argue but couldn't find words. In business, there are 2 types of people, I continued. People who tell you what you want to hear, and people who tell you what you need to hear. The first type is common and cheap. The second type is rare and invaluable. I stood up and shook Steve's hand. Welcome to the company. Your first assignment is reviewing last quarter's production reports. If anything looks wrong, I expect you to tell me directly, no matter how much I might not want to hear it. Steve nodded. You'll get the truth every time. That's why you're here. Mark left without another word. I heard later that he told colleagues the interview was unfair and that I was unprofessional. He still doesn't understand why he failed. Steve has been with us for 4 months now. He's already flagged 3 quality issues that would have cost us significant money and reputation. He's not popular with everyone. Some managers find him abrasive. Some meetings get tense when he speaks. But our defect rate has dropped to historic lows. When you're building a team, don't just hire people who make you comfortable. Hire people who make you better, even if they spit out your coffee.